Kugan Cassius for IFL TV. We're in Braehead here in Scotland ahead of tonight's He Who Dares show. With me I've promoted Dave Coldwell. How are you, David?
What? Coldwell, again.
What did I say?
Coldwell.
Coldwell?
Yeah,
Coldwell,
you don't pronounce the D.
Coldwell.
Kugan.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually my name.
What, you don't say Kugan?
Do you know what? My actual name...
Is it a silent G?
Yeah, my mum and dad say it with a silent G.
Really?
That's actually how you pronounce it.
Oh, right, okay.
But, Kugan's alright.
Okay. Big
Dog Cassius, whatever you want to say.
Hot dog.
Easy. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm alright. I'm just, it's 3 o'clock and we're just getting to that point now where I just want to get to the venue and get him settled into his training rooms and get him in an environment and just, get towards the fight. This waiting bit, old fighters will tell you, old people around in boxing will tell you, this bit is the bit that drags.
This video is actually going to go out tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
no result.
What?
Everyone knows the result.
So right now, when people are watching this, you'll either be happy Dave Coldwell, or...
I think, touch wood, I'll be happy Dave Coldwell with a British and Commonwealth light welterweight champion.
We shall see in a few hours' time.
Like a right prick if I'm not right now.
There's been a lot of talk this week over this whole situation regarding our fighters going over to America.
Yeah.
It's caused an interesting debate on the back of Brian Rose's one-sided defeat, shall we say, to Andrade. It's nothing new.
No.
British fighters going out to try and realise their dreams by going over to not just America but wherever abroad and trying to win a world title. So Gary Lockett and you go through the years, it's countless people.
Listen, it's happened in the past, it's happening right now, and it's going to happen in the future. Simple as that.
There's been two sides to this argument, as in one side is, what is the issue with giving someone a chance who's put themselves into the position right via the rankings or the mandatory position as it was in Brian Rose's case. There's also the element of securing home advantage for your fighters in world title fights, but we know that in a purse bid situation or a mandatory situation you're at the back end of that, so it's very difficult to do that. And there's also the argument of why send fighters with little chance. I'm not saying Brian Rose had little chance, I'm saying in general people who go out there, if people kind of know that the odds are stacked against them, why send them out there anyway? Just for a payday, just to say you fought for a world title?
Or maybe because that's what boxing's all about. Fighting for a world title. That's what every kid dreams about doing. Every fighter wants an opportunity to become a world champion. And I think if an opportunity is put in front of 99.99% of boxers, do you want to fight for a world title? There's the opportunity. Do you want it? I don't think many, apart from the ones that can then say, well, I'm actually good enough to fight for that title instead. He's a little bit tricky. I don't think I'll beat him. I think I've got more of a chance of beating him. Them guys might swerve it because they're going to get another opportunity. The guys that maybe aren't going to get another opportunity at another version of a world title that might be a little bit an easier shot or whatever, that's their chance, that's their opportunity, and that's what they got in the game for. And that, as kids, when they start off boxing and they're sparring and they imagine that they're going to be world champion, that's what it's all about. So I can see that they will take them fights.
From a promoter's side of things, is there an argument that obviously if you want to put one of your fighters into a mandatory position for a world title, before you've started that route, you kind of know who's the champion at that weight or with that belt. It could change, of course, but you kind of know. So are you not with the ultimate goal of that your fighter then could face that fighter.
Yeah.
Do you not look at that and think, does he have a realistic chance of winning that fight? Does he not have a realistic chance of winning that fight? If he doesn't, take him down another route.
But what happens if the other route is blocked and the other route is where, you know, the names that have got those titles, the big HBO fighters that are involved in big massive fights, and you've got no chance of really securing them. But you know, you could be #1 contender for Mayweather or Pacquiao, you know, and just because you've got that mandatory slot, are you really going to get that shot? If you're not a commodity yourself, if you're not a big enough name yourself, would people at HBO and what have you, and you know, the promoters out there, would they be interested in putting you on in that when they've got to sell big pay-per-views out in America? Probably not. So that you get swerved. So you know, this is boxing. It's not the right thing. It doesn't mean it's the right thing, but it's what happens. And so you've got to look at also what is the most attainable crack at world title you can get, and if ultimately if you're not good enough to win the world title, you'll find out on that night. You know, you could be a good fighter, a great fighter, and still go in on the night and not win. You know, this is boxing.
I mean, when I spoke to Barry Hearn recently, you know, he made a couple of good points about some of these situations being gambles, but if you look through the years, those gambles are very rarely successful, but they do happen. You know, he made reference to like Donald Curry and Lloyd Hunnigan, and even Barker and Gill as well, where Darren was an underdog going into that fight as well. So without putting these gambles out there, you don't get to know, you know, what ifs, and more than likely, you know, over the last few years, our fighters that have gone out there haven't been successful in.
But is that because ultimately, if they're not being, you know, you can go back to people like Jennings against Cotto. He knew full well going against Miguel Cotto, he was the underdog. You know, everybody around him knew that it was, you know, it's a very slim chance that he's going to beat Cotto. But does that mean that he doesn't want to test himself against the best in the world and see, you know, how much of a gap is there between myself and him there? You know, who's #1? The fighters, you've got to be a special kind of breed to get in the ring in the first place. You've got to have that ego, that side to you that wants to test yourself and wants to, you know, wants to face it head on in the first place to get in the ring anyway, at 6-round level, at whatever level you're doing. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to get in there and get punched in the head. But for the talented ones and the ones that are winning titles domestically and then progressing and you know, European level, they want to test themselves against the best. And some people are happy to get me the easiest shot at a world title, and I can, you know, I'll go around and I'll tell everybody that I'm the best, when there's 3 or 4 out there that are ultimately better than them. But then other people will say, well, no, I want to test myself against the best, and that's how, you know, that's their choice. That's how it is. Boxing's all about timing. You can get a guy that is talented, experienced, a very good fighter over here, and when he sets on his road of chasing that world title, starting getting ranking fights, by the time a mandatory comes round or whatever, and he gets his mandatory shot, the title might have changed from somebody that was quite beatable to somebody that's just another level above. You know, because it's not a case of like one fight and you're in there as mandatory. There is a bit of a process, not, you know, most of the time. And they might have had eyes on another champion. That title's gone, and now it's a tougher fight. But what did you do then? Pull out your #1 position and say, oh, no? Or did you just go out there and do your best and test yourself and see if you can pull off a shot?
Yeah. It's interesting because there's sometimes not a right or a wrong in this situation.
No.
It's people's opinions and how they perceive things from, you know, and you kind of take that.
I understand when people are saying, well, why are we going over there to fight? Sometimes it's just economic sense. You know, you can't afford to bring the fight over here. You know, and if you can't afford to bring the fight over here because it doesn't make sense financially, then world title fights cost a lot of money. If you're dealing with a big name American that's on good money, and then you're wanting to bring them over here, it's a lot of money, and then you've got to pay out for a decent undercard underneath it as well. It's just, unless you're an arena fighter, it's going to be very hard to do. If you're a leisure centre fighter or a 2,000 seat arena fighter, it's very hard to imagine yourself getting a world title shot over here. Once you start packing out big arenas and stuff, then maybe, yeah. But then ultimately, if the champion's with HBO or Showtime and a big promoter out in America, then again it's going to be very hard to win a purse bid to bring them over here. So that's just business. That's just how it is. You know, we'd all like to have a home advantage, but that can be said on every single level. Whenever a fight goes to purse bids, be it English title level, be it British title level, or whatever, or European, you know, sometimes it's just not possible to outbid the other people. So you make a deal and you go over, because if you gamble and go to purse bids, you might end up with less than what the original offer was, and then then you're gonna get moaned at because you should have done a deal.
It's interesting. I'm sure this won't be the last time this topic gets brought up. It'll get probably brought up every time there's a fighter that does do that go over from here to there. You know.
That's how it is. You can't please everybody in boxing. You can't please all fans. You can't please people. If you've got competitors in sport, in whatever field it is, whatever capacity it is that you're working in, then they're going to slag you off. Any time that it goes wrong, they're going to slag you off. If Brian Rose had gone over and beat Andrade, would anybody be going off about, he's gone over there and this? It's just that the kid was just too good for him. But Brian Rose, no disrespect to him, he probably is sitting at home right now thinking, when I started out as a boxer and when I was coming through on the smaller circuit, could I ever imagine to have gone over to America and boxed for a world title? I bet he didn't. He'd have loved to, but no way would you have thought that was going to happen. He's done it, has achieved it. That's that. And let's not forget the guy that he beat just pulled off a good win out in America.
Javier Marcel.
Exactly. So he beat a good fighter to get the shot. But it's just about levels, and I had same sort of experience with Ryan when Ryan fought Alvarez. We knew going into the fight that it was up against a genuine star at game and a kid that was going to be an absolute superstar. Was we wrong? No. But if you ask Ryan, do you regret taking that fight? No. Because he got, if he won a British, he won a European, won a WBC International, and he got the opportunity he got into mandatory for the WBC, and to go out there and in Mexico, the whole experience of it all, everything, he's gone out there in the Lion's Den, and he took on one of the best fighters in the world at any weight, and he gave it his all, and he got beat. But he knows, retired, he knows that he tested himself at the ultimate level. And there's a lot of fighters that can say that they're world champions, they've been world champions, and they've never tested themselves at the ultimate level. There's a difference between just being a world champion and being the best. He at the time he fought the guy that was at the best, and he can be happy with that.
Talking of Ryan Rose, obviously some news has filtered through. I spoke to you about this yesterday and today, and you're not really for this, are you, Dave? Ryan Rose coming back?
For it? No. But then again, that's probably not surprising because I wasn't really for Curtis carrying on. I thought, let's finish where we're at. But I understood that he's got something left to achieve. Like Commonwealth title fight. That's an added thing he can achieve. For me, for Ryan to be carrying on, to come out of retirement, I don't think he's got anything to achieve. He's doing, like I said, he fought at the top, came just short. Is he going to do better than that? Is he skinned? He must be skinned. We don't know.
What do you think about also the talks of Ryan Rose to the movie? Good for him.
Well, we spoke about this before. Apparently, when he's a little bit slimmer, he looks a bit like Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. I think he's a ringer for Statham.
But as he's right now, and he looks a bit old in face.
Phil Mitchell.
No, old in face. On that interview that he did with him, if you look at the interview, look at the video, it looks more like Bruce Willis, like Die Hard 5, not Die Hard 1 or 2, Die Hard 5. So maybe you could do early stages Jason, later stages Bruce.
Interesting concept.
I think he's a winner.
Well, we'll await news of Ryan's shock decision. I don't think he quite believes it himself, to be honest.
No, I think he's in. I don't know. He might have had a.
Is he had a moment of madness?
He might have had a big tax bill. Don't know. Don't know. He's always wearing the same T-shirt. I know that.
Possibility.
So maybe it might be financial. It may be just that his wife's had enough for him just hanging around the house all the time and you know, eating all food. You know, maybe
is it
she
kind of
wants
like that mentality? Look, I married a boxer. You stay a boxer.
I do think it was. Yeah, it was definitely a boxer when they met. So maybe she just wants to get him back in, you know, back in the ring and back in shape and you know, back on it.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Dave, thanks for talking to IFL TV. We're heading off to the arena soon. So.
A serious conversation today, wasn't it? That?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, quite deep. You're getting very pax man.
Mix it up, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's not spoil it. Mix it up.
Good man.
Kugan Cassius, Dave Coldwell, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Cheers.